Hello, I'm Emily, and I'm a library associate at the St. Paul Public Library. Today I want to talk about the book The Crusade for Forgotten Souls by Susan Bartlett Foote. This book won the 2019 Minnesota Book Award for Minnesota Nonfiction. The book describes the changes that improved the care of patients in Minnesota's mental hospitals in the middle of the 20th century. Now, if this sounds like a dry subject, you need to hear Susan Bartlett Foote tell you about it. I've chosen a passage from the first paragraph of the preface to give you an idea of the author's engaging writing style. Historians rely on what is written and can be found. By a stroke of luck, the story told in The Crusade for Forgotten Souls found me. It fell on my head, literally, while I was cleaning out my son's closet in 2013. As I reached up to a high shelf, a large bag stuffed with papers tumbled down. Picking up the contents, I discovered personal papers of his grandfather, Arthur Foote, my former father-in-law, given to my son after his grandfather's death in 1999. From this beginning, we are introduced to three characters who saw the inhumane treatment of mental patients in Minnesota and brought about the changes that we take for granted today. One of these people is Minnesota Governor Luther Youngdahl, who held the office from 1947 to 1951. A 1949 newspaper photo, reproduced in the book, shows the governor lighting a bonfire at Anoka State Hospital to burn straitjackets, leather straps, and other equipment used to restrain the hospital's patients. Another is Arthur Foote, a Unitarian minister at Unity Church in St. Paul from 1945 to 1970. His interest in reforming mental institutions in Minnesota included working undercover as an aide at the Anoka State Hospital, and as the author points out, he was also her former father-in-law. But perhaps the greatest hero of this story is Angela Shea, a lowly state hospital attendant whose diaries helped to uncover the stories of the patients the world had labeled insane. Angela is an unsung hero about whom Susan Bartlett Foote starts singing. You won't find Angela in many of the official state hospital staff photos because her position was considered too menial. But her passion for her patients, described in the personal diary she kept, and her willingness to argue the case to fellow Unitarians made her the catalyst for all the reforms that followed. Susan Bartlett Foote's narrative provides a clear sequence of events on how Angela speaking out at a Unitarian conference brought the issue to Arthur Foote's attention and how his constituents made the case to the governor and the state government. But her narrative also puts you in the room, as it were, so that you follow Angela into the Anoka State Hospital for her first day of work. You're also in Harold Stassen's living room when influential Republicans decide to nominate Luther Youngdahl for governor. And you wind your way through the University of Minnesota campus of 1946 as attendees arrive for a committee meeting to discuss their plan of action. In this way, Susan Bartlett Foote gives a human perspective to what was the inhumane treatment of mental patients. The book is well-researched, well-written, and a real page-turner. The Crusade for Forgotten Souls is available in the St. Paul Public Library in both hard copy and e-book formats. Please visit us online at sppl.org. Thank you.